Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Today I wanted to cover a little bit of an anniversary. This was a few days ago and I'm really just now getting around to making the video, but today is, well, I guess not today, but it has been the 10-year anniversary of Fear the Walking Dead. Something that really started out as one thing and then slowly became something else, something pretty much unwatchable. And it's really disappointing in that matter because when Fear the Walking Dead was first announced, and when we got that first poster, and when we got that first teaser, I was really excited about this show. I was really excited to see the fall because, as you know, if you follow my channel and seen some of my other videos where I talk about fear or just post-apocalyptic type stuff in general, seeing the fall, seeing the unraveling of society and civilization is one of my favorite parts of this genre. And it's just exciting to me that when that show was announced and when we got that first trailer, especially that first trailer,
We gotta get far away from what's outside. All of us.
Just stay down!
it was just, in my eyes, it looked phenomenal. And, the original showrunner, he was there for, I want to say, the first 2.5, 3 seasons. And he had a vision that was supposed to play out over 7 seasons. And then, of course, he left or he got let go, or just, with how these shows have been, we get multiple showrunners with every series. And, that's not something that's changed by any means because we already got a different showrunner for the third season of Dead City. And so, with that, with different showrunners comes different vision of what the show is supposed to be. And you could tell that shift when it happened between, I want to say, season 3 and 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, how it shifted from one thing and shifted to something completely different with the big stadium fire when we lost, quote unquote, lost Madison. And then just the introduction of characters from other shows like Morgan coming in because they thought it would boost ratings. And we got just additional new characters like Garrett Dillahunt, who played John Dory, and then Jenna Elfman, who played June. And then we got all these additional characters. And it just definitely was one thing and this became something else. So there was just so much that could have been done with the show and it just failed to deliver just on so many levels, which was really disappointing because we started out with the Clark family, of course, and it was the beginning of the apocalypse told from someone else's point of view, different city, different story, and I was all for that. And then as the season, well, even as that first season really went on, I was really excited to see how things would fall apart. And within a matter of episodes, it was done. It was over, and it was just Walking Dead 2.0. It was just another version of Walking Dead. We didn't really see the fall of society, the real nitty-gritty details of things like Operation Cobalt, and I think it was the Sunset Protocol that we got mention of, and World Beyond, and things like that. Of course, those probably weren't a concept at the time, but it just really took something that had a lot of potential and just kind of threw it away, especially after the second or third season, whenever we got that new showrunner. And with that, we just had all these different characters come in too. I liked the Clark family when they first got announced, or they were first introduced. And then we had Travis, played by Cliff Curtis, who come in, who played Madison's boyfriend, another amazing character that just got the short end of the stick on that one. I really did not really enjoy or appreciate what happened to his character. I mean, a lot of these characters too, you have to realize when it comes to characters leaving, sometimes it's on their own terms, and that was definitely the case with a handful of these characters. I don't know if that was the case with Cliff Curtis's Travis character, but the way that they killed him was just really lackluster, and I didn't care for how that came about. But then along the way, we got introduced to characters like Daniel, who had this mysterious past, who turned out to be a total badass. And some of his story along the way got kind of, I don't know, it was weird. And then with the Clark family, we had Alicia, we had Nick, Madison, and they all individually had their own kind of unique, compelling story where Alicia just felt kind of like an outsider and just there was different things going on with her. Madison being the single mom and just trying to navigate all of that while I think keeping secrets at the same time. And then you have Nick, who obviously his biggest problem was that he was an addict. But in a sense where the end of the world was actually saving his life. And he adapted to it quicker than any of our other characters, just the way that he would go about. We found out early, or he found out early, that covering yourself within the entrails of the dead camouflaged you from the dead. And so we got to see how he adapted to it and how everyone else adapted to it on different levels, on different scales, where Madison just trying to navigate protecting her family. And then Alicia really just still feeling lost and alone. She gets lured in by that group there early on. I want to say it was in the beginning of season two, and just what they did with that. Then we had characters like Chris. This was Travis's son from his marriage, his first marriage, anyways. And this was an insufferable character, just a really ungrateful, spoiled, entitled little brat. I did not care for this character, so he was one of the few characters that I was absolutely grateful when he was taken out. When he got exactly what he deserved after the way he treated his dad, after the way he treated his step family and everything, and having kind of this weird infatuation with Alicia too, and just things like that. Then, as the seasons went on, of course, we got Dwight coming in there shortly after Morgan did. And then we got introduced to John Dory, who was another great character who got the short end of the stick as well, where he was killed off by, what was her name, Dakota or something. Another terrible character. And then we have Virginia, another terrible character. Great actress, terrible character. And just, it was little things like that. But then they just really tried to, they just tried too hard. Where after the quote unquote death of Madison, people really hung on to that whole thing where you're not gone until you're gone. Where if you don't see someone actually die, then they have to still be alive. And this is something that the showrunners, creators, what have you, really capitalized on when they reintroduced Madison and this weird story that she was involved in, being a part of this group that kidnapped children from their parents, thinking that they were saving them, which is really, I don't know, I hated that actually. That was just so stupid. And just these other characters we met along the way, and then the reintroduction of Troy, who somehow survived a blow to the face with a hammer. I mean, they tried to explain it away the best they could and everything, and then him claiming to have killed Alicia after Alicia had left, after going through the whole sickness thing, will she, won't she die, and just, it was a lot of just uncertainties and just really suspend disbelief type writing, where by the time it was all over, we were just grateful that it was over. But then they go and they trickle in parts of different story. They leave things open ended, like the whole CRM thing. We had Al there, Althea, played by Maggie Grace, who finds this CRM pilot and then disappears with her. And I'm pretty sure we never heard anything about her ever again. Not even in World Beyond or anything. We never touched on that character ever again. Just another one of those open ended plot hole type things. And the worst part of it was, it didn't stop there. When we got Madison back, when we got Troy back, just the weird things there where she ends up killing him for sure because she absolutely believes that he did kill Alicia. And then she pops up in the last episode, which is just another suspend disbelief. And then at the end of it all, we have Morgan with his adopted daughter saying over the radio that he's going to go find Rick. He's telling Rick, I'm coming looking for you, whether you're at Alexandria or not. Still no idea if that's going to come to play. If we're going to get any kind of payout from that. And the same thing with Dwight and Sherry saying they're going back home to the sanctuary, to the Virginia area around Alexandria and everything. Still no idea if we're ever going to see them again. And him or Sherry, or more so him, if he were to pop up in Dead City as an after credits, as a cameo, I'd be satisfied because it could be setting up something to where right now we're just kind of season by season with each of these spin-offs where we have no idea what's going on, if it's going to lead up to anything big. We got Daryl ending with season 4, and there's rumors that Dead City is going to also end with season 4. So we just don't know. And in some ways, it all kind of started with fear, where it started out as something with a pretty decent story, and then it just turned into a dumpster fire of all dumpster fires by the time it was all said and done. And so the Walking Dead universe has not been perfect by any means, especially these days. The earlier days were some of the best work we've ever seen with that particular show and that particular universe, but it's just, in some ways, it's just been inexcusable how bad it's actually gotten. And the things that we want to see that they just are not giving us as fans, as devoted fans, mind you, people that have stuck with it past the whole Negan thing that really pissed a lot of people off, and just a lot of the other stuff along the way where people lost their patience with it and they didn't want to watch the show anymore. So, I mean, that's just a little bit, that's the tip of the iceberg of just the things that they could do to course correct with this universe but they just choose not to because they want to milk it for all it's worth. And sadly, things or shows like Fear really suffer the consequences of that. So that's just my take on it. Take it or leave it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, of course. Tell me how you feel about all of it. And of course, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.